Hey everybody, welcome to another Conan Exiles custom map tutorial. This is number 19, and in the previous video we created a cave, and I told you we were going to go ahead and start looking into some lighting and etc. Now lighting is very important for gaming because you don't want too much lighting in a certain area. It can actually cause performance loss and issues like that using point lights, etc. in the Unreal Engine. So what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of show you how to use the visualization tool on lighting and complexity, so that way you can space your lighting correctly, attenuate it correctly. That way you don't create an area that's got too many point lights, which causes performance loss for certain video cards and etc. So let's go ahead and we'll kind of dive into that. And what we're going to do is try to light up our cave down here. And I'm going to show you using the visualization tool so you know how to space your lighting properly. So let's go right and get into it. Let me head over to my display and let's begin. Okay, so when we last left off, we left off with our cave and our post-processing and etc., getting it all set up so you could go in and it was darker. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place lighting into this cave. All right, so when the player goes down in here, we're going to make this kind of like a pirate kind of hideout. All right. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll kind of start in this back corner. And I'm not going to really detail the cave. I want to concentrate on the lighting. So I'm just going to place lighting. However, if you've already detailed your cave, excellent. If not, and you're doing something else, you just kind of follow along with the lighting. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is, like, say you want to kind of light up the cave. All right. And we don't have an actor or anything to place just yet. So what we can do is we can actually put a point light in. Now these point lights can be kind of helpful, okay? And what I've done is gone up to the modes menu and go to place, and all you gotta do is type point light, or it's right here in the list, and you just drag it out onto your screen like so, okay? All right, so now I'm just gonna focus on the one point light for now. Now, if you notice over here in the details panel, it's called point light. And you can rename it too if you need to be specific. Now, the light color is white, and you notice there's intensity. So if you can sit here and put your mouse over, it'll give you the option to kind of scroll the number intensity up high. Okay, so there you go. We've really brightened our cave. Now, another thing that we also have to pay attention to is you got static and you got movable. Now the world is set up to where we have a dynamic lighting. So what you want to do is you want to make your point light movable so that the whole scene is dynamic shadows, and it's a little bit slower rendering, but it gives you more dynamic shadows. So your shadows with objects, and let me go ahead and try to pull an object in here. I'll use this cube for an example. Notice how the shadows kind of move with the cube. It makes it more dynamic, and it casts these shadows, okay? So to kind of give you an idea. Now, with static lighting, it's a little different, okay? Now, it looks the same right here, but believe it or not, static lighting is where the shadows are not going to move, they're not going to do anything really fancy, and they're just kind of static. They just sit there. They don't do anything really cool. You can kind of see some shadowing going on here with the terrain as we lower the light bulb. And also you can see, if you look here closely, see these lines. And then if I, sorry, let me make sure I get my point light correct. I'm probably lying to you here because the static. Yeah, there we go. You can see these lines are kind of being cast. All right, and if we make it movable, it makes it more dynamic. You can see there's a change with the light. If you look very carefully, it does change. And it's hard to kind of explain this or show this, but the movable light here, and then if you got the solid point light with static, it's definitely different, okay? Depending on how you place the lighting, the intensity, etc. And you can cast shadows, see? So you can turn the shadows on and off with the point light. With the static light, it really doesn't do a whole lot of cool stuff. Okay. It's just static. It just sits there. It doesn't really cast any dynamic shadowing. And also, if we go up here to our tool and we go to optimization, we go light complexity, I want you to see what happens. Now, the blue is what you're looking for. Okay, it's a nice, cool blue. Now, as we get to green, green's okay, but as you start casting more lights in here, and I'm going to try to show you, and I'll put more point lights in. Okay, notice how it looks like a thermal imaging map. Now, you notice this light bulb here too is also got a red X. So if you see these red X's, what it's telling you is it's a static light, and you want to make it movable. Okay. Now, if you notice too, as I move this, notice how things are starting to get green. You got red and yellow, and the red is bad. So you don't want red. Yellow is getting pretty into the caution area. Green is what you're looking for. Okay. Notice how that's moving, like I said. And depending on how you cast the lighting, if it's static or dynamic. Okay. And it's really hard to kind of explain this, but dynamic lighting gives you more shader complexities and things like this. Now, when this turns red like this is very intense in the area. Okay. And all to change this, to turn it off, just go back to lit. Okay. But as you can tell, these lights, smashing them all together, and you also notice there is a little line around the light bulb. Okay, or these light blue lines. That's called the attenuation radius. It's at 1,000. So you can actually extend the light radius out, but it eventually bleeds off to where it won't cast as far. Okay, it's in the attenuation radius. What you're trying to prevent, and I'm about to show you here, oops, is the attenuation radius on these light bulbs. So let me go back to our perspective here. So we go back to our lighting only, optimization view modes, light complexity. Now, if we play with the attenuation radius, notice how it starts greening up. And you notice the little light blue circle circumference lines around it have shrunk. And notice also how the light has changed. Now, by doing this, what happens is we're reducing the overlap of the lighting. Notice how everything's starting to go blue again. Okay, so light, believe it or not, because you can't see it, in this mode here, when we go back to our lit mode, you can't see that. You can't see the changes, okay, as much. But as we bring another light into the scene, they recommend you don't have more than 5 point lights within a location of each other, okay? And I want to go ahead and bring all these together here. And then let's go back to our complexity. There we go, we have blue. And the reason why we have blue right now is because we've reduced the attenuation radiuses and etc. on some of these lights. And if I reduce more, we have a nice cool blue. Okay. But as we increase attenuation and we start going crazy, should be getting a bad light thing here. But the visualization obviously sometimes is a little wacky, and right now I'm showing you that light map intensity. Sorry, let's go to light complexity again. There we go. So we're red. Okay, it's dangerously red, and we got them all smashed together. Like I said, as we reduce the attenuation radius on our lights, notice we start to go green. Okay, this is a safe. The blue light's even safer. Okay, so green is nice. Green is good to go. And like I said, notice if we start spreading the lights out, we start reducing the attenuation crossovers with each other. It gets better. The lighting's better. We want to reduce yellows and red zones. Okay, blue and green, yellow and blue make green, but we want to keep it like this. We don't want to force it to where we're into the yellows and reds, because that starts getting really complex and the shaders start going a little wacky. And as you overlap lighting, notice we're getting yellow. And this intensity, these little patches like here start slowing you down. Your frame rates start to slow down. You get some very odd performance issues. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. I apologize if my explanation is off, but I'm trying to explain as best I can due to the fact how this works. Like I said, static lighting and movable lighting is very important, so always make sure you make it to movable. Like I said, if you see the little red X, you have to get rid of it. Now, right now it's not showing here on this point light, but if I was to close out the editor right now and load back in, it'll be a red X. So you just want to make it movable, because the reason why is we're using dynamic lighting in the engine. With the Ultra Dynamic Sky system, it uses dynamic lighting. So we want to make sure we use dynamic point lights within our world. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete these out. And like I said, as you notice, it starts getting a nice cool blue. This is the lighting we want, cool blue or green. Okay, so we know what we're doing. All right, so let's go back to light complexity. In the visualizations, the light density map, this is our sky. All right, this gives you another overall view of lighting and how it's hitting certain objects in the world. Okay. But what we want to focus on, like I said, what we want to focus on is the optimization light complexity. All right. So let me go ahead and head back to our lit mode. All right. And let's go back to our cave. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place these torches down. And if we go to your content browser and go to content and let's type torch. Now we got some blueprints already made up for lighting. So we can find those. Okay, so some of these are, like I said, are already pre-made. So we have a standing torch. All right, it comes with just the particle effect on it. Okay, so notice that there's no light being cast on this one. All right, then there's also the torches with lighting, and I want to find that standing torch with lighting if I can find it. And you can create your own lights on there too. You can create your own particle effect and all that stuff. And I will have to do that in a blueprint tutorial, which will probably be our next tutorial. It's how to create a light blueprint or a blueprint in general for an actor. Okay, I think this is the one that's got the light bulb on it. Yes, okay. So that's the CA Standing Torch 01A. Okay. And I don't believe that's a character place. Yeah, Camp's resource. Okay, yeah, we want to make sure it's not a character created torch. All right. So notice, like I said, this torch has no light bulb on it or point light, but this one does. And notice the color is orange. We have orange light. Okay, and how we do that, and I'll drag another point light out here just to show you, is we can change the color here by using the color wheel. All right, to get the appropriate colors to cast. So you got yellows, greens, blue, and you just want to find the right coloring. So if you want to make something that's kind of evil or magical, you can change the lighting here. The brightness is through the intensity, okay, which you've already seen. The attenuation radius I've showed you, okay, and as the more this goes out and the brighter this goes out, the more it overlaps. See, notice how the light flares up and gets brighter with the attenuation. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move this and change it to movable. And let's move this over here. So notice our torch, okay, and if we go to our optimization view modes and light complexity, notice it's a nice and blue, but notice if we bring this over, it goes to green, so we're okay. It's not too terrible. We can work with these lights close. All right, now if I delete that, it's cool blue. Now I just duplicated it. Notice how we got green. And Control Copy Control V. I put some more. Now we're starting to get almost to yellow. Control Copy Control V. Notice now we're yellow. And Control Copy Control V. We're red. So we got too many light sources in one spot, and what we'll do is we'll go back to our perspective, or sorry, our lit mode, and now we have all these torches smashed together. Okay, now it doesn't look like it's doing anything funky, but it is. And that's why the light tool is turning red, is to show you that, hey, you got too many lights in proximity of each other. Okay, so this helps. All right, so this will help you space out your lighting properly and your your shader complexities and things like that. And if you hit the, I want to say, is it the F key? If we'll hit play mode, and I'm going to show you something as well. So we'll hit play from here, and I got to remember the F key. And what this key will do, okay, so F1 will show you collisions and the static mesh shapes, okay, of the world, okay. And then F2 will give you an unlit kind of mode, so it gives you an unlit mode. And then your lit mode is F3, and then F4 gives you like a grayscale mode, okay. This gives you the grayscale of the world, okay, and it only renders certain colors. And then F5 is shaders. Now red is bad, okay, and what's really sad is that a lot of stuff in Conan Exiles, the shaders are really bad. So it's taken a lot of power of the shader complexity. Okay, so these are performance optimizations, and as you can tell, white is extremely bad, red's within a good, green is really super good, red is okay, but as it goes down the scale, white is super bad. Okay, and pink's even gets a little bit worse. Okay, now that's all depending on the complexity of the material and also the complexity of the textures. Okay, so always remember that your textures and materials can actually do this. Okay, so now to get back, just hit F4, or sorry, F3, and it gives us back to this mode. Okay, now we'll go back to our tool. Okay, lighting, optimization and light complexity again. So like we said, we're red here. This is really intense. It's not really good. So now I'm going to delete these and just bring it down to one torch. Okay, go back to our lit mode. I'm going to hit play from here. Again, one more time. Okay, so one light works pretty good in here. Okay, and this is already pre-set up by the Funcom dev team, so that helps. Okay, and you're not going to be able to get away from this. I mean, this is the way it's going to be, sadly. So hopefully I didn't just lock up. I think my dev kit just locked up. Oh, there we go. Whoa, that was weird. All right, so we're not going to be able to escape that. That's just the way the shaders and stuff are, but just to give you an idea what you can do to make sure that your world is not too complex with textures or materials. And Funcom is actually trying to reduce these sort of things, but I don't believe they've actually touched these cave mesh blends. Okay, so alright, back to lit mode, F4 or F3. Okay, shift escape. So that shows you how we can do that. And we're at 19 minutes, and I think I have enough time to do a light blueprint. So what we can do here is if we browse to this blueprint here, it's pretty much pre-made. Okay, now there's ways we can go about doing this. So what I'm going to do is, what you can do is, if you want to create your own torch lighting, right? What you can do, let me see here. Let me go ahead and search to that again, browse. All right, and I'm going to drag this, and what you want to do is just drag it over to your mods folder, okay, and we're going to drag it into whatever you named your mod, hit copy here, okay. Now you don't want to do this for everything, but if you want specific lights you can, and I'm going to just go ahead and create a new folder called blueprints. Oops, we already have one, sorry. Silly me. I forgot. Go ahead, never mind that. Go ahead and go to your blueprints folder if I already created it. But oh, that's our character one. So what I want to do is go ahead, instead of using our character one, I totally forgot. So what we can do is do this. We can go ahead and create a new folder. Sorry, and we'll call this blueprints. Let's see, objects, or blueprints lighting. Let's just call it blueprints lighting. It's easier. Okay, so blueprints lighting. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and move that torch over the blueprints lighting. Move here. So I'm going to move the copy I just created over here. All right. And also what you can do is rename this. All right. And it's a standing torch, obviously, but I'm just going to call it Snow's torch. And what it does, why I do that is so I know if something goes weird in game, I can differentiate from my copy of the blueprint from the Funcom copy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to open up this blueprint. All right, and we're going to go to the viewport. And now you can see, we can look inside here and look at the torch. And what we want to do is we want to put a light bulb on this. So the first thing we do, or point light, we're going to go to type up here in the add component. You're going to click that. You're going to type point and point light. Okay. Now the point light is going to zero out. It has a location of 0, 0. I'm going to move it up and get it into position right about where the flame is, roughly. Okay. Just a little bit, maybe just a little bit lower. Yeah, let's go right there. All right. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color. And I'm going to go ahead and make it kind of a purple light. Kind of purpley color. And kind of make it magical looking. Okay. Now we can't see it right now, except for if we get in close. Okay. Now I'm gonna reduce not the intensity, but what I'm gonna do is reduce the attenuation radius and bring that down to about here. Okay. I'm also gonna make sure that point light is movable and not stationary. Okay. See how it changed cause 1 to mobility? We want to make sure it's movable. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and compile and save it. And also the audio. Now you can also do audio, which it looks like it's already attenuated to attenuation of fire. So what we can do here is go to here and type torch. And what we'll want to do is look for like a torch sound. All right. And there's a torch hand, torch medium, torch small. I'm going to go torch medium and plug that sound effect in here. And we should be able to hear that. There's one here already. Actually, sorry. This is Funcom's also added their own Dreamworld sound system into the Unreal Engine editor. It's a plugin. So if you've seen Dreamworld, that's what it is. Just go ahead and forget this step here. I think this is actually functioning, the small torch sound, so we'll double check it, make sure. So we compile, save, all right. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and now we're going to place our blueprint out here on the world here. And what we should be able to see is when we get close to the wall, there's our purple light. Okay. So now what we need to do is we can adjust it. And what we can do on the blueprint itself is we can actually adjust the point light right here with our attenuation radius. So actually inside the blueprint on the little blue light here, it's inherited. So we can just adjust the intensity and the attenuation based right here. Okay. So now let's go ahead and we'll just remove this one. And what I want to do is take this torch and I'm going to move it over. Bring it down just for a test real quick. Actually, let's just bring it to the wall here so you can see the lighting. And I'm going to hit play from here and make sure that the sound file is actually playing correctly. Okay, and it's actually working right now. Okay. So you hear it crackling. So small torch is working. Okay, and our sound effect in our cave here is working as well. Okay, so that's how you do lighting there. Okay, and another thing with lighting, actually Control Z. Let me keep that there. Because what I want to do is actually, let me go back. Torch. Real quick. All right, now you can do this also to the handheld torch too, so you can kind of create your own custom objects and stuff later on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring this torch out, and I'm going to go ahead. And if you look at their torch too, the Funcom torch, you can get your attenuation settings off of here. Now, if you notice the attenuation settings here on my torch, the point light's at like 5,000, 6,000, but you can actually do a large setting, but only change it to 20. You know, so you can actually use big solid numbers instead of like the other range of. Because the way Unreal Engine works is really strange, but you got like 1.0, and it's using like a point system because it uses floats and decimals, and it's mathematics type stuff. But you can use those range of numbers, and you can look at examples where the dev team has set up torches and lighting, and you can basically copy the same thing and get the same effect if you use the settings. Now, sometimes the blueprints don't react, and if you notice, my light intensity on here, I set it to 20, is not working right. It's really strange, but if I turn it back to 5,000, it works. It's really bizarre. I don't know why. Sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. It's a weird dev kit bug. So just to give you a heads up on that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. I just want to make sure I pointed that out to you guys. Okay. And like I said, we set up our lighting. Just kind of give you an idea how you can space your lighting out and set it up and make it look cool. You can do things like that. And if we hit play from here, one more time. There you go, we got our purple light. And you also can change the flame too. Obviously the purple light does not go with an orange flame. So the next thing is, what we can do is we can actually swap that out. So if we go to find our blueprint torch that we copied, go to viewport, you go here to the particle plugin here, the particle system component. You can actually find different colors of flames. All right, and there is a purple color, but it's really large. And I'm trying to remember what it was called, but I'm going to try purple. Fire vent purple, Serpent Man Brazier, which is purple fire. Here we go. So I can take that as the particle effect and set that. And we can also scale it down. So I'm going to go 0.75 up here in the scale. And we can actually rescale the particle effect so it's not too fat and large hanging outside the torch, but fits a little bit better inside the torch. So you can scale the particle effect based on what you need. Okay. So now we have that, and I compile it and save it, and we go out here. Now our torch should have that nice cool purple glow particle effect. Okay. So that should do it. I think that'll cover our lighting, but once again, I'll show you this real quick. Go to lit, go to optimization view modes, go light complexity, or use Alt F7, and you can visualize what your lighting looks like and if it's okay. Like I said, green is okay. Green and blue are your friends, but when we get this red and yellow and orange, you're getting close. These are obviously, red is bad, so we don't want to do that. We don't want yellow, we want green. Okay, and this nice pale green is better, but you can have green, but it's bright, but you're getting close to the edge of bad lighting. Okay, so just remember that, and remember that your attenuation with the lights crossing over on each other will cause issues. Okay, so hopefully that helps you now. And we've already covered post-process, so by doing this in a post-process that's already set up, we're getting the effects of our lighting too. Because if you make your post-process too dark, your lighting will actually be really dim. It won't look good, and that's why we're using the Funcom ones, because they're kind of preset. But however, just to quickly show you, we go to our post-process, view and current level only. I need to find my PP. Go PP. Post-process. Actually, I think I need to turn off that. Here we go. AA environment. Our post-process right here. This is our cave. If you go down here on your post-process and go to tint, you can actually, believe it or not, change the tint color of a scene. So I'm going to change the tint here, and I believe it's going to be here. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, there you go. So under global, you got scene color. So you can actually change the color of the scene. All right, so I'm just going to reset it back to, oops, zero it back to white. Okay, you can also tint here by playing with this. So be careful with your tint, your white balance and stuff like that, but you can change that. You also have the ability to do brightness. I believe it's brightness. Yeah, so brightness, you can actually, believe it or not, change the brightness inside a post-process and go darker. Just be careful, because you can go pitch black and your lighting won't work very well. Okay, so remember that. All right, I'm just going to undo that so I don't screw myself up. All right, so that was one thing I wanted to show you in post-process in the last video, and I completely forgot. So I want to make sure I cover that in our video here as far as lighting and things like that. All right, so our tutorial video is at 32 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this and go back to my main screen here. So once again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It helps you with the lighting, to understand how lighting works in the engine and the do's and don'ts, so that way you don't cause a lot of optimization issues. I've learned a lot through YouTube videos and stuff like that, watching about lighting and things like that. And also the dev team actually helped me too, showed me things about lighting as well. That way I understood it when I was developing the War Maker and the Wine Cellar. Okay, so without further ado, guys, thank you for joining me. If there's anything that I need to cover that you think I need to go a little bit more in depth, or I missed something, please let me know in the comments. Contact me, and I will try to hit that up. Or any additional comments you want to make, please post them in the Patreon community chat that I have set up. I've been talking to a few of you already, so just go ahead and ask those questions there. I'll try to get to them. Usually it emails me and lets me know that you've made a comment. Sometimes it don't, but I do randomly check to make sure. If I don't get back to you, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just I haven't got to my Patreon account and checked it. So today I'll be checking it because I will get ready to upload this video. So without further ado, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate that. And if there's something else I can do better, please let me know. Or if I'm going too fast, or I might miss a step that it confused you, just let me know. That way I can improve my tutorial videos too for you guys. All right, without further ado, thank you, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye, everybody.